This is your view, or what it could be, from your 1022. I wanted to bring you this review because my eyes aren't quite what they used to be, and are definitely feeling the effects of age. And these have been a godsend. The stock sight set, which is in here now, you just get a brass dot for the front, and then you get a fully adjustable rear. The rear is nice, however the aperture is really a little wide for my liking, but to each his own. The Williams set is much different in that it not only has the fiber optics, but the rear is much narrower, which to me allows for a much more accurate sighting system. And they can be drifted for windage, elevation. The rear has fully adjustable elevation and windage with some set screws that's in there. I don't know if you can see that. Let me get me a pointer. There's a set screw here which allows you to drift this rear section. I don't know if the light's going to allow you to see that, but it's actually dovetailed in to the mount that they give you, which actually moves the sight further rearward, which I really like because it's giving you a longer sight radius from front to rear, which is going to help you make in sight alignment and your accuracy a little bit. It's not much, maybe 1.5 inches further back. You can notice on the takedown models like I have here, it actually does come out and over this barrel tensioning nut somewhat, but it doesn't hinder the because once you have this set, you really shouldn't have to mess with it anyway. But it doesn't hinder the operation or the takedown of the gun at all. And the dovetails are a little bit loose, much looser than the factory sights, but they compensate with a set screw on this rear. Now the front one, it is pretty snug, and I've not noticed any problem with it moving whatsoever. And I've noticed a lot of guys talk about how hard it is to get the stock sights off. I didn't have any trouble. You need to drift the sight out this way and the new one in this way. Okay, and the reason for that, if you had a close-up view of these sights, they're tapered. The dovetail is tapered a little bit larger on one side than it is the other. There again, if you'll drift the sights out toward the bolt side of the rifle, you shouldn't have any trouble. All I did with mine was I put a rag in my vise, put the rifle into that rag in the vise, and then snugged it down just to hold the rifle. Basically is all I was doing. You could probably do it without a vise. And then everybody says use a brass punch. Don't have a brass punch, but I do have some metal punches, and so I just put a little tape over it, and duct tape, and something to keep it from marring up, and just was real careful to put the punch on the sight dovetail, not the rifle. Again, you have to be careful with that. Make sure you're here and not down here on the barrel or anything. If you do that, a couple of good whacks and they should pop right out for you. Mine did, at least. It wasn't any trouble. The new ones were actually even easier to slide back into place. The hardest part about the whole job was the front one. When I initially drifted it in, I went a little too far, had it off center, and I had to drift it back and just trying to get it dead center because I didn't really want to have to mess with windage. And I had these set now for 25 yards, I think it is, or thereabout, and I have not had to touch the windage whatsoever. So obviously I must have got them pretty close to center of the bore. But these things, not night sights by any means, but would definitely help in low light situations and or failing eyes situations. The front one looks to be steel, and the rear one does look to be aluminum, but I may be mistaken on that. The front one could be aluminum. I hope that it is. I don't have, yes I do have a magnet. I can test that and find out here. They are steel. So the rear one is machined aluminum, but the front one is mild steel of some sort. But it says, you know, professional gunsmith installation recommended, but You know, quite frankly, if you're like me, every time you want to do a modification to one of your firearms, if you had to take it to a gunsmith, you wouldn't be able to have many modifications done, nor would you have that many different firearms. So I'm going to give you a good picture here of this sight set. Let's see if I can, yeah, it looks a little better on my grubby hand behind it. You can see the sight itself and the dovetail. Nice fit, the way they done it. And again, the rear, no gaps. Now the elevation, they use a set screw, which is right here in the top, threads down through the sight itself, and then contacts the barrel, which raises the rear of the sight, or in turn, if you screw it the other way, it would lower it. The windage is by a set screw, and I haven't loosened it to see how loose this dovetail is, but I'm assuming if you loosen that, you could probably just move this by hand, left or right, whatever the case may be needing, whatever you need to get on target. And I do like that they had the addition of this set screw in this dovetail so that it locks that into place. I took that screw out once I had the sight in place where I wanted it. I actually took this out, put a little Loctite on it, and then put it back in because I don't want it moving. And I may do that now that I have the sight set with this one as well, so that the elevation doesn't change on me. Say that these would be a good set, especially for the price. $19.99 is what I paid for them through Midway USA.